Have you seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street but still don't understand how he actually took people's money?
This video will break down this psychological trap in a simple way that even a 5-year-old can understand. Watch until the end if you don't want to become the next greater fool in the market.
1. The law of incentives. Why does morality lose out to 50% commission?
In economics, there is a cruel truth called the law of incentives. People don't do what is right, they do what they are rewarded for.
Great entrepreneurs like John D. Rockefeller built empires by optimizing costs to bring real value to society.
Conversely, Jordan Belfort discovered a deadly loophole in the financial system back in the 1980s.
While reputable blue-chip stocks only offered a modest commission of about 1%, junk stocks, penny stocks, paid brokers up to 50% commission.
The moment Belfort realized this, morality was instantly placed behind profit. He didn't hire conscientious financial experts. He hired people who were hungry for money and willing to do anything to close a deal.
When a person's income depends entirely on making sales, their brain will rationalize deception as helping the customer.
This is the income trap. A salaried employee can say no to a bad product, but someone who lives off commission views the word no as a threat to survival.
The global lesson here is crystal clear. When you receive financial advice, always ask yourself, who benefits the most if I put my money down right now?
If the answer is tied to sky-high commissions instead of long-term results, leave immediately.
2. Information, the weapon of no need to understand.
To trick thousands of investors, Belfort ruthlessly exploited the information asymmetry between the seller and the buyer. He taught his staff the straight-line persuasion technique, a psychological pressure cooker that turns hesitation into a nod in just minutes.
His classic closing line was, "You don't need to understand the company, you only need to understand the potential profit."
This statement is extremely dangerous because it shifts your attention from the fundamentals to the greed for upside growth. Just 10 seconds of inattention and the victim signs the death warrant for their account, completely unaware of the actual risk. The poor get poorer because they often stand on the data-deprived side, using belief to trade with those who hold the truth. Conversely, the rich get richer because they never put down money without independent verification, due diligence. In a bubble market, the thing that increases in price fastest isn't asset value, but the stories that are told and retold. And as the comments have pointed out, perception is everything, but in investing, false perception will cost you cash.
3. Herd mentality, the lesson from the 1637 tulip mania.
Financial history proves that humans always repeat mistakes, from the tulip bubble event in 1637 to Wall Street in the 90s.
When the tulip fever peaked, a bulb that hadn't even left the ground traded for the price of a house.
That's when the market operates based on liquidity of belief rather than intrinsic value. Belfort created this effect using the pump and dump scheme. He controlled the supply, generating artificial scarcity to trigger the fear of missing out, or FOMO, in the crowd.
Investors rushed to buy because they saw others buying, falling into the trap of the greater fool theory. They hoped to sell this junk asset to someone later for a higher price, unaware that they were the last person left holding the bag. When the crowd is the benchmark, you use the actions of others to justify your irrationality. The takeaway: ask one cold, hard question. If no one else buys this tomorrow, what is the actual value of this thing? If the answer is 0, then you are gambling, not investing. 4. Leverage and margin calls, the nightmare from the Great Depression of 1929. Why did Belfort's victims lose everything instead of just losing a portion? The answer lies in financial leverage.
Many borrow to invest, hoping to get rich quickly, repeating the tragedy of the market crash of 1929.
When using leverage, you only need to put down 10% to control 100% of a position, but the risk multiplies accordingly.
When the price of the stocks manipulated by Belfort started to plummet, a chain reaction of margin calls occurred.
Investors were forced to liquidate assets at rock-bottom prices to cover their debts, wiping out their capital instantly.
Financial disaster isn't defined by red market days, but by your inability to survive long enough to wait for the market to recover.
The rich get richer because they always maintain a liquidity reserve to survive cycles, even buying up cheap assets from those who are forced to sell.
Belfort understood this well, so he was always holding the cash while his clients were holding the debt.
5. Overtrading versus compounding, the mindset of Warren Buffett.
One of the biggest lies Belfort planted in his clients' heads was, you must trade constantly to keep up with the market.
In reality, data from the Haas Business School shows that the most frequently traded accounts only achieved an average return of 11.4%, much lower than the 17.9% of the overall market.
The behavior of overtrading only enriches the broker through commissions while eroding the investor's profits.
In complete contrast to Belfort is the philosophy of billionaire Warren Buffett. Boredom and patience are king. Buffett utilizes the power of compound interest and always demands a large margin of safety before committing capital. He doesn't try to predict every market fluctuation or promise to double an account overnight. The poor get poorer because they seek a feeling of control by constantly pressing the buy and sell buttons.
The rich get richer because they let time and probability work for them. Belfort sold adrenaline, while Buffett sells peace of mind, and history has proven that peace of mind always prevails in the long run.
6. Moral hazard, the ridiculously cheap cost of crime.
The story concludes with a bitter truth about the legal system and the concept of moral hazard.
Jordan Belfort committed fraud causing hundreds of millions of dollars in damage, but only served 22 months in a comfortable prison. The court required him to pay $110 million in restitution to the victims, but reports indicate that most of this money has still not been paid.
He turned his criminal story into a bestseller, a blockbuster film, and expensive courses. This sends a distorted signal to society. Crime can be excused if you are charismatic and famous enough.
Many young viewers today idolize Belfort, confusing wealth with success. But remember, fame built upon deceit is a toxic asset.
You might get rich fast like Belfort, but you will never earn the respect of those who truly create value, like Rockefeller or Franklin.
7. Conclusion. Summarizing the mindset concisely.
The life of the Wolf of Wall Street is the clearest proof that intelligence without ethics leads to disaster.
Don't let the glare of Hollywood blind you. The financial market is where money moves from the impatient to the disciplined. Build wealth based on sustainable cash flow, control expenses, and steer clear of get-rich-quick schemes.
If you want to equip yourself with the knowledge to see through the most sophisticated manipulation tactics in the global market,
Hit the subscribe button now to boost your financial IQ every day. And you, which path to wealth will you choose? The patience of Warren Buffett or the speed of Jordan Belfort?
Leave your thoughts below. We will respond to all comments. See you in the next compelling video.